Great morning, everyone. Welcome to this amazing Sunday. I thank you for taking the time to spend some time with me. This is my brand new podcast, My Health Matters with Dr. T, which will air every Sunday at 11 a.m. So you all are welcome. You are welcome to share out and to invite other people. We're going to talk about a whole lot of stuff. There's a lot of things that fall under health and wellness. Today, we're going to talk about mental health and we're going to focus on homelessness. I have an incredible guest joining me right here in studio. So we'll get to her in just a moment. You'll also have an opportunity to call in, ask questions, to share your experiences, and to express what your concerns are. Because the reality is, homelessness affects all of us in one way or another, either directly or indirectly. All right. So before I go any further, since this is my first podcast in a real beautiful studio, I just want to take the time to thank God and to acknowledge His greatness on my life, the calling that He has on my life. Once I began to understand and step into my purpose, it just began to flow. Doors began to open. I began to meet incredible people who also believed in me and were able to feel my energy. So I am grateful. Thank you, Speedy. Thank you, Nick. Thank you for entrusting me to sit here and to just kind of do my thing, which is to inform people, which is to share information, to get the information out. Because if we don't talk about it, we act like things don't exist. And the reality is, many of us go through the same things. It may be different scenarios and situations, but the reality is, it's stuff, and we all have stuff. So imagine someone who doesn't have, or people who are homeless on the street. You know, a lot of times we generally, not me per se, but we'll laugh or talk or ridicule, make fun of, not understanding that many times there are underlying issues as to why people are homeless, as to why people don't have family members who care anything about them or may not even know where they are. So, this is a topic that is dear to my life because there are many people who live on the street, unfortunately, that suffer from mental illness, mental illnesses that go unchecked and unnoticed. So then they're not able to get it together. So for my first podcast, when I first knew that this was going to happen, and even when I was doing my pseudo podcast on Facebook and on Instagram, there was a dynamic young lady that God brought into my life, and I was able to watch through her postings just how effective she was with people that she did not know, people who were on the street, particularly women and children that were sleeping at bus stops, who were cold, without food, without shoes, without shelter. And when I began to learn about what it was that she did, I felt honored to be able to contribute whatever way that I could. So we're going to make sure that we put her Cash App up, because when I tell you that this is a lady who uses the money that she gets to help other people, I have seen her in action. I have seen her rescue women and children from bus stops, from being beaten, domestic violence. It didn't matter. Times when I'd be like, sis, don't go by yourself. And she's like, well, I gotta go, Dr. T. You know, and just, I mean, you talk about people in the community that are doing it. This lady is doing it, and many times by herself. Now, she does have a conglomerate of women, Queen Unity. I'm a part of Queen Unity, proud to be. A lot of sisters that stand behind her and support her. I'm very proud of her. Recently, she was acknowledged by the city for her contributions. I mean, she is making noise. She's going in with her bullhorn and like, hey, you can't do this to my people. These are my people. So I'm not going to keep talking because, I mean, I could go on and on and on and on, but I've had the privilege of working with her in health and wellness through Total Life Changes, TLC. I have seen her take people that were down and could not walk, people who had no hope, and began to restore them, to revitalize them, and to give them that glimpse into, hey, you can change your life. You don't have to stay in the situation. And she has her own story. And then also we have joining us in studio one of her beautiful daughters, Miss Shaquise. And I want you guys just to check out the gear that Dion is wearing and her daughter. Her daughter is a designer. So y'all know I'm trying to get me some pieces over here, but we're going to make sure we bring her back too as well. But being that Dion is her mom, she has a story as well. So these are my guests. I want to take the time to introduce my friend, my sister, a fellow queen, a community activist who is always activated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This sister takes no off days. She uses her own vehicle. Okay. Dion Leslie. Let me introduce you guys to Miss Dion Leslie and her beautiful daughter, Miss Shaquise. I am honored to have you guys here. I'm so honored that you agreed to do this. I called Dion at the last minute because we kind of did it, last minute, Nick?
That's all right.
Dion said, I'm off, Dr. T, whatever you need. I can remember times being sick. This lady would bring me soup. Dr. T, I'm going to call at the gate. Let me on the property. I'm coming in. I got you some soup. I got you some this. I got you some that. And she knows that I love her. And she knows that I am forever indebted and just grateful. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. T. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
To look here, right? Okay. So, yes, I just want to go back and just say thank God for letting me be at this platform at this very moment. Dreams are what you believe in, and they basically can be manifested into existence like this very moment here with Dr. T, who Dr. T doesn't know I've been following Dr. T for so long before Dr. T knew I was following her, but her consistency paid off. And that was the one great thing that I love about Dr. T. Before I talk about what I do, I want to talk about Dr. T because a lot of people don't know, and we don't have a lot of doctors in our community that are full of force and energy and power. And so just seeing a doctor on Facebook exercising was like a boost of energy for me. And so I just want to thank Dr. T because she was one of the most powerful and positive people on Facebook out of all the people that I came across on Facebook. So thank you, Dr. T, for your positivity, your consistency, and your help in the community to try to get people well, let them know about health and wellness, share her story because basically we all have a story. And that I think our stories came together and we started to develop relationships like most women do and should embrace each other and love each other through thick and thin. And so that's what me and Dr. T are. We're sisters from other mothers, but we've developed a beautiful love relationship and we both are blossoming at the same time.
Praise
And
God.
so
Amen.
it's a great opportunity to be here in this studio is something that a feeling that I cannot even tell you at this moment. But I just want to say that any and everything is possible. Um, and mental health, when Dr. T said something about mental health, it was just like an amazing uh, light bulb that continues to go off when it comes to mental health because we all need a little mental health. So I learned that in the stages of my life when I was going through homelessness. I thought, okay, I'm homeless. I'm about to get this help. I'm about to get it, and I'm about to be in me a low end apartment. And unfortunately, that's not how it worked.
So let me ask you, what happened? How did you become homeless?
Okay. I think we all come a point in time in our life where we feel like we need to know our worthiness, and you may not know when it might hit you, whether you're a male or a female. It just sometimes you come to the point where you need to alpha up, and I just thought I felt that a relationship that I was in was just toxic, and it was just not worth my time, and I just felt like I need to go and just do better. And my daughter, Dione, my youngest daughter, she sold her iPhone. And I can never forget the moment that it was like my daughter was, when I said, I think we should just go. She was like, yes, I will sell my iPhone. We can get some gas money and we can go. So it's just like when your own child helps you escape situations, it's almost like it's a confirmation that this is what I need to do. And
Yeah.
so, without hesitation, we left everything except for the vehicle that we were in, the clothes that we can put in the vehicle. And although I did have family, it was like embarrassing. So I was trying to like slide in and just, I'm back with like not even having a place to go.
Well, it's that thing of, you're a woman, you have
Hmm.
children, you
Yeah.
have pride,
Yeah.
and you want to be as independent as you can be.
Right. And you don't want to just bring like don't like to bring bad stories to people
Right,
because
right.
I like to bring energy.
Yes,
And when you're a person with energy, sometimes you have to be careful what you speak because then people count on you for positivity and
yes.
strongness, and here you are being weak. And so I try to always remember to keep the things that I need to keep to myself until I'm able to bring a story with it that's
Yes.
going to be able to be in a better place to tell someone my story
Yeah,
without
because
them
your
feeling
story is
sorry for me.
powerful, and I
Yeah.
know that God takes us through tribulations and
Mhm.
trials,
Right.
but when we get through them, we come out
A
stronger
breakthrough. We
on
break
the other
through.
side. We're no
Right.
longer a victim of toxicity. So,
Right.
for those of you who are listening, I want you to
Mhm.
really listen, because if you're in a toxic
Mhm.
relationship or a
Mhm.
toxic environment, we
It can
pray
tear
you
you
out of
down.
that.
Yes, it
And
can
and
tear
you've
you
and you've
down.
got to, you
Push
said
forward.
alpha up,
You got to alpha
alpha
up.
up, put on your big
Big
girl
girl
panties or your
panties.
big man drawers,
Mhm.
because it's not
Mhm.
just women in these situations, it's
Right.
also men.
Right.
But
It's
you
about
don't
loving
have to
yourself
be.
at the end of
It's
the
about
day.
loving
Yeah.
you and loving yourself.
Yeah. And when you have
Yes.
other people watching you, especially daughters and sons and grandkids,
Yes.
you really have to make sure that you're setting a good example. But at the same time, these are real life situations that people go through, and sometimes we don't even know the person that we live with until we're with that person. Then we found out that we made a big mistake, but we've already
Yeah.
invested time and energy. And how do we make changes in our lives without other people ridiculing us and making us feel bad about situations that we already know that we should not be in?
Right.
But then we have to get that worthiness, and
Yeah.
the more worthiness and the more you build yourself up, you almost can feel like you can conquer anything.
How did you deal
Um,
with the judgmentalness of it all?
you know what? I think because I was raised in a positive household,
Okay.
and I learned how to make broke look good.
Okay.
Um, I think that's what helped me out
Okay.
because at the beginning of the day, when we woke up, we had an air mattress in the back of a truck, and we were pulled up at a friend's house. We were using her electricity. Thank you very much to you, Renee Whiteman, for allowing us all those years to use her electricity. And my daughter, she didn't even really know we was homeless because it was so fun to her to be at the beach and to be out and be able to eat whatever you want. I recycled every day, all day. I
Oh
was
yeah.
the recycle queen before I was the queen of my community. And I could recycle and make $120 a day easily. And that was my niche at the time because I wanted to make sure I was close to my daughter
Yes.
at all times, and that gave me the opportunity to work all day, recycle. I was going to businesses. They were leaving recyclables for me. Before you know it, I was at the 24-hour fitness taking showers. So now I have a place to take a shower and park, and I make the best of it.
Oh yeah.
But the biggest asset to me was first mental health,
Excuse me.
and then uh, though mental health basically was a big part of helping me out of the situation that I was
Yes.
in because you start to feel hopelessness
Yes.
at some point in time when you're homeless because you just don't see a way out. And I started using my resources and finding out that my resources were going to save me at the end of the day.
Now, what were your resources?
Well,
If you can tell them.
topics, topics. I'm gonna tell you. I learned the word advocate,
Yes.
and when you learn the word advocate, you start to find out where your advocates are.
Okay.
And I started finding advocates everywhere I went, and finding advocates in mental health and topics, and then you have people to help you, to lead you in a direction where you don't feel like there's no one out there to help you.
Right.
When there's thousands of people out there to help homeless people, you just got to find out where they are, how to get to them, how to be consistent, how to stay in touch. And if that person is not working for you, then you need to find someone else in that office that can push for you and fight for you.
So was it a struggle to get people, like when you would go to the offices and apply for if it's food or shelter and things like that? What were the attitudes of those people? Because just customer service, when you go like to, I'm not
Um,
going to name no agencies, but when you
yeah,
go like to certain
certain
places, we'll
places,
say,
yeah, you
the reception is not always so kind and
right.
friendly, even when they know you're in need.
Right, and that's how I became about to buy my bullhorn.
Okay,
Actually,
yeah, let's talk about that.
yeah, I had to.
That bullhorn has gotten
Yeah, that's my best buddy.
racist businesses shut down. I've witnessed
Right,
that. We're going to talk
and it's
about
got
that
me a
too.
lot of help at the same
Yes,
time
ma'am.
because that word being consistent. I would go to honestly, I would go to Hoppies and I would get me a pillow and a blanket out my car, and before they got there, I would be laying there, and I'm just like, I've been waiting for you guys. Have it, I'm ready for the day to get started so I can get me some housing.
So Hopix is that
Hoppies,
HOPIX?
S HOPIC.
So
S.
that is a resource.
Yes.
HOPIC
Yes,
for
Hoppies.
housing.
Yes, for
Okay.
housing. And it's
Okay.
on Broadway in Slauson. They have a family center on Crocker and Slauson.
Okay.
And so when I found out that I had to have a CSC, which is basically a assessment
Okay.
that the county does to assess your needs and find out what it is that you need.
Okay.
And it's almost an agreement.
Okay.
And when I first came to the situation, I found out that there was levels to homelessness, just like there's
Wait,
levels.
wait. Levels to homelessness. What do you mean?
Well, I was considered a high homeless 10 because I had a vehicle and I had a job. So I was going to be the last person to get help if I didn't say I was on drugs, which I refused to say.
Oh, wow.
And that's because
Okay.
I'm not on drugs. But those, at the time, depends on what project was going on. You could be a part of that project if you're on alcohol or drugs, which I had never been on. I don't even drink. So it would be like just to go to meetings and sign up for something that I'm not even, I can help other people with. It just seemed ridiculous to me.
Right.
So because I didn't sign up for that, I just became a high functioning homeless person in their eyes. So I had to show them, that although I'm high functioning, I'm homeless and I still need a place and whatever it is I have to
Wow.
do to get to that place, that's what I'm going to do. And so if I felt they weren't helping me, I would get my bullhorn and go out there sometimes and, just seeing them disrespect and how they were treating other people
Yeah.
that didn't know their rights, like I know my rights. And you have rights. And then that's the one thing that we need to all learn
So
is
what
our
tell
rights.
tell us what some of those rights are, because I'm unfamiliar,
Hmm.
and I want our time to be advantageous and useful for
To bring
people
awareness,
that
right?
are
Right.
out there right now
Hmm.
going through this. This
Right.
sister is telling you guys how you can get some help and some available resources,
Right.
excuse me,
That other
that you can
communities
take.
have, and
Right.
just like
Like what other communities? You mean like
with
rich
high
folks?
function community, like
Okay.
and I love my community, but I go outside of my community to do everything that I need to do to take care
Sure.
of the business I need to take care of, so I can see what they're doing. I can bring it back to my community, and that's how I build a better community for my community.
Right.
And also getting rid of the businesses that don't belong there, and bring in businesses that do belong there. But your question was, I'm sorry, your question was.
Well, no, the main thing is when you talk about the resources,
Okay, the resources.
yes.
Okay. So when you're looking for resources and how you continue to get the resources is depending on your situation. Now, let's just say if you were in domestic violence and you have a police report, that's $1 million because, for one, you're a victim of a crime. And victims of a crime get relocation fees. And I always tell people, go to your local police department. I went to the 77 division. I had met someone while I was just out homeless, and he thought that my property was his property, and he threatened me, and that's all I needed to just hear was a small threat. Because I'm like, I help domestic violence women all the time,
Mm-hmm.
so if you want to make me become one, let's get it cracking. So I went down to the police department, filled out a report. Right away, they gave me a paper, and on the back of the police report, it said the victim's rights. And
Okay.
all I had to do was just read from there. And I'm a big reader. My mom didn't allow television, so it's not like I get up in the morning and need to see television. But a book and some paperwork, I will read. And I started reading victims' rights and what their rights were and how could I use this to my advantage. And I was reading, and it said relocation fee, $2,000, and I was like, here I go.
So you were beginning to tap into
I
some
started
money that
tapping into, and even if I
you didn't
couldn't
even know
use
was
it
there.
right then, I
Right.
know other people that could come in and have that situation taken care of and relocate wherever they want in the world for $2,000. $2,000, and that's a big help for anybody who's trying to move somewhere, relocate somewhere. That's about all you need to move in for your half.
So
So
was that like your first act of advocacy? Because I know
yes,
you're still an advocate.
yes, and
You
and I have,
advocate for
and I'm pretty sure
everybody.
victims' rights has spent millions of dollars since I found that out
Yes,
5 years
yes.
ago, right? But the thing is, that was a asset to
Yes.
me to give to the community and other domestic violent women who have used it and have places and apartments now, and they can pass that information to other women who have been in that situation. So that's a blessing for people to know. Then Hopics. Hopics will work for you if you make it work for you. Because there are beautiful people there that know exactly what to do to get you where you need to be, but you need to advocate for yourself as
Correct.
well and be there when they open. And I wouldn't even leave the lobby. I would just sit there and they're like, well, we're closed. I'm like, well, I didn't get the help I needed, so I don't know where I'm supposed to go.
Right.
Trust me, by the time I left, a sister had either a voucher for a hotel or they asked me, do I have an EBT card? Yes, I do. They put the money on there. Okay, thank you. Because I'm not leaving. But that
Right.
was my mental health. I was stubborn and about leaving the county office also. They have plenty of resources. It used to be you can get homeless assistance once a year or once in a lifetime. And
Wow.
now it's once a year. So let's just say if you had housing 4 or 5 years ago and they assisted you 4 or 5 years ago, you can go back now and get it again. They give you 14 days, about $1,000 for a hotel room, and within that time period, after that 14 days, you are on your own pretty much.
Wow.
And that's how I receive a lot of people and women and children who are out on the streets
Yes.
because their 14 days run out.
Yeah.
Need better solutions
Yes.
for that. So that's a big part of my advocacy to show people where to go, how to get into harbor interfaith, how to get into these transitional housings, how to go by the college and find rooms for rent. It's like we have to expand our minds to figure out how we can find a place to go because we can't even get and move in together and get along for what 10 minutes.
Yeah, our people tend not
Yeah,
to
our
be able
people.
to
So
do
we have
that.
to do a better job, at
We don't want to
embracing
share.
each other.
Right. And
In
that's
homelessness
it.
also,
Right.
because like my daughter, I really applaud her because she's taken families in, and I mean, she had this big house, 3 floors, and she's using all her space to help other people.
Now, do you get that Shaquise from your mom, or where does that come from?
I think I definitely get it from my mom.
From your
Yeah,
mom.
for
Yes.
sure.
She's like a mini
Without
me.
even
Yes.
knowing, without even. Sometimes I'd be realizing how much we're like when I see her do things, or someone else will tell me like, "Oh, I seen your mom doing stuff like that too." Like I'll be like, sometimes it's second nature. Honestly, it's not
Right.
something I see her do and then I do it. I think it's just.
It's
It's
innate.
just, it's
a
just,
part of
yeah,
you.
it's just
Yeah.
second nature. If you see someone in need,
Yes.
you just help them. Like,
Right.
Right.
that should be just second nature to anyone. It should be
Right.
common sense, even to a 2-year-old when they see their toy on the floor, they see someone hurt, it's second nature. You should care about people in general.
Well, you know what, and it should, because that's the human thing to do, right? We're all God's children. For those of us who are believers, but the reality is that's
don't all
not
have
quite how it
empathy.
happens.
Right.
There's a stigma
Right.
that goes along with people who are homeless. But I always said to myself, I don't think anybody growing up said to themselves, when I grow up, I want to live on the street. When I grow up,
Right.
I want to be homeless. When I grow up, I want to have insecurity, because that's precisely what it is. And so I was looking at the National Coalition for the Homeless. I like to do a little research. I'm a researcher, so I go
I am
online, I
too.
get to dig in and look in. That's just what
As
I
you
do.
should.
Right, as I should. Correct. That's how you know.
What you find out?
So, what I found out was that according to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, now this was July of 2009. I don't know why this information has not been updated because we know that today's homeless situation is a larger crisis than what we ever could have imagined.
Pandemic.
Right, okay?
Right, yes,
So
it
now
is.
let's just say from 2009, it was that 20 to 25% of the homeless population in the United States suffered from some sort of mental illness. Now, mental illness can be like depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolarism. There's a ton of them, right? And to me, it's almost like common sense. I don't know if it's because I'm a clinical psychologist. I don't know. Before
Right.
clinical psychology, I was a school psychologist, still am for 25 years, right? But the reality is, people were not desirous. It was not something to be desired to not have security in food, shelter, clothing, water. You know, you have children who come to school and it's like, you know, teacher, you're mad because little Johnny is angry. Well, little Johnny is concerned because he knows mama's getting her ass beat right now. And he can't be there in the household with her to protect him. I mean, her in his mind, you know, or little Susie is concerned because they weren't able to eat last night. So now she has a stomach ache. But instead of that, going into my school psychology role, those were the kids they want to say, oh, he has an emotional disturbance or,
Any little thing.
oh, attention deficit disorder, the hyperactivity. No, it is the inattentiveness because we didn't get enough to eat. It is the inattentiveness because I'm worried about my mom or I'm worried about my dad because I saw my mom take a knife to him last night. These are real life situations that occur. And what happens is, as I said in the beginning, a lot of people have mental illnesses that go undiagnosed. And it has become so taboo that we would rather hide behind, not ask questions, not get therapy, and not deal with it. I guess dreaming or hoping that one day it's going to change or go away.
Or
Well,
you
I
could
think a
fix it
lot of
yourself.
people, and also regarding homelessness.
Yes, ma'am.
Because homelessness the crisis has expanded
Right.
and has been going on for so long. Of course, people are going to have mental illness
Yes.
because they've been out there for so long and the hope is gone. And
Yes.
a lot of people don't see a lot of resources, especially if you're not like directly downtown. Now, if you're directly, now things have changed. It's hard to even go down the street and see a homeless person or a tent because they're taking a lot of that stuff away.
Okay. That's what I want to talk to you about because I talked to you, was it yesterday, briefly, and you were telling me, and I'm noticing on the street, I'm like, wow, I don't see those campers out there anymore.
Yeah, so you have to realize, like, where are these people going?
Where are they going? Where are they moving
So
them
honestly, a lot of people.
to? No tents? What's up with that?
So no tents. So the thing is that there's an agenda. So you have to remember there's always an agenda. And the first one, when you saw the Venice Beach,
Yes.
when the first kickoff was at Venice Beach. Now look how quick and easy it was for them to get those people help, get them some housing, and remove all the tents and put everything back like it was. It didn't take them long. Now just imagine if they did that every street corner, if they could have been doing it, right?
Why is there such a disparity?
Well, the thing is, like, greed in the city, you know, and people pocketing money, and you know, they always think that the poor people in the poor community, we don't know what's going on. You know, we all know that Kobe Bryant himself and Nipsey Hussle donated millions of dollars into homelessness. And at that time, I thought, oh my God, this is going to be the best change. They're building Staples centers. They're building high-rise buildings. Of course, the homeless, they got to end the homelessness problem before they, you know, everything starts to be glorified downtown. But no, the situation is not glorified. It's actually worse. And the reason why is because they don't have a system for people, an identification system for people, so that way we can know where people are. Well, I know where my people are in my community, but I'm just saying in general.
Sure.
we had a better process, how to process people, but now people are on the overway, freeway overpasses.
Yes.
You got people waking up and people are sleeping in front of their homes.
Right.
You got people living in mobile homes, cars, parks. Whole parks are being closed down downtown because the homeless crisis took over the
So
park.
where are they moving them
Some
to?
people have options.
Okay.
And some people's option could be a shelter.
Okay.
Some people options could be get what you can get and walk and do what you do and have a nice day. A lot of people don't want the help because they don't want to follow rules.
Okay.
They may not want to end their drinking and their drug abuse. And so now you have more people that are walking around, like zombies pretty much. You can wake up every even given day and somebody's standing on the street corner. Either they're not talking to themselves, they're at the store opening the door for you.
Yeah.
The outside, you got a quarter. It's just a mess.
Yeah.
In order for homelessness to end, it's going to take a whole community and a village of people. It's not going to just take the city. Apparently they can't do that job alone. That's why you have these other nonprofit organizations like Queen Unity Movement.
So talk to us about Queen Unity. Well, let me say this first. This is something I want to say because you got people that are still kind of stuck in their ways, but I just want to go on record as saying this. The next time you see a homeless person, do not assume, oh, he just wants drugs, she wants drugs.
Right.
Many of them, like I said before, have underlying mental health conditions they know nothing about.
Right.
Guess what? There are some mental health conditions that do not manifest until you are an adult.
Have you ever, I've talked to mental people that have mental issues, and
Sure.
you can see them talking to themselves, but guarantee they understood and heard the questions that you asked them. And they can answer you, and then they can go back to talking to whoever they was talking to. Okay, they're not dumb.
No.
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 It's just sometimes they're manifesting their conversations. It could be with God. You don't know.
You don't
They can be
know.
talking to a person that passed away. You don't know
don't
who
know.
that person
Very
is talking
true.
to.
Very
so
true.
you have to keep in mind that these are humans.
Yeah.
And we're all human, and you don't know what could happen to you if you take some medication. I've had friends that wake up and don't know what happened the night before.
I know what happened to
and
me.
what.
I had too much codeine in my system.
So
and
you just never know when
you don't
your
know.
mental
yeah,
outbreak could
it
come.
caused me to go into a coma. They
Right.
thought I was having like a mental break. It was called a neuroleptic malignancy syndrome. And what it was, like how you can hear this breathing now, well, this is something else. But at that time, I was developing a bronchial infection. So my doctor put me on sipping on the syrup that Lil Wayne,
Right.
shout out to Lil Wayne, but no, we don't promote that.
Right.
It'll kill you with the fenugreek with
poison.
the codeine in it. And then I was getting braces, so I had to have root canals and all that done, clearing the antibiotics, and they give you what? Tylenol number 3.
That was that back in the day. That was everybody's favorite. I mean,
Right.
if you didn't have a Tylenol 3 in your purse, you was not my friend.
Well,
So I'm just saying that's how it was
Right,
back
but
in the day. Everybody,
prescription
they
drugs.
gave that out like candy,
right. Absolutely.
and no one knew the bad effects that it would have on us
Exactly.
later in life.
And now we know better.
Now we
So
know
we
better.
do
We got to do better.
And Dr. T can never take anything with codeine in it. So if you see me passed out,
Girl.
don't give me codeine.
An Advil get me high, so
I can't take none of that.
yeah. So
But
I mean, it's best to
yeah, you're right.
try to give your body as much nutrients
Naturally.
and natural health and eat healthy
And we'll talk
and
about
stay away
that
from
too.
processed food, and you'll be a whole lot healthier. But yeah, that's a whole
Yes.
nother segment, right? On
Yes.
health.
Yes, but just the
mental health.
misnomer that she's on drugs. No, and then what happens when you can't remember things that you're supposed to do in your daily life, right? That begins to impact you. And so when people are impacted or they feel depressed, they then very well may turn to drugs.
Of course, yes,
Right?
Yes,
In the
everybody has
street,
something that they
that
turn
kind of
to.
thing. Yeah,
right?
something
But you just
that
wanna
will
make sure
just
that
make
you don't-
feel okay for a minute,
Right.
and all of
Some
those
people
things.
like
and
wine. Some people like weed. I mean, everybody
some
has
people
something
like
that they
CBD.
like.
I like
Hey,
CBD.
Some
all
people like
day.
have things that they like.
Matter
We
of
all
fact, we're in a container right now.
but the thing is that we have to make sure that we do things in moderation. and keep it classy and still remain. We don't want it to just we're gonna be like doing all that.
No.
We just want to.
But just don't make assumptions about people.
Right.
That's my point.
Don't
Don't
judge a
make
book by its
assumptions.
cover.
And
Yes.
can you
'Cause
help?
God
you
may
know?
put that person right there for you to see if you're going to pass a test, and you may not pass that test if you're not having, the humanity and the love that we're supposed to have for each
for each
individual,
other.
no matter what they have on and what their, mental health may be. Sometimes you just may need to take that extra step to let that person even know that just keep hope alive, and that God loves you, and better days are coming.
Yes.
But these days you can't really just reach into your pocket and just be giving people money and stuff like that. It's just too dangerous.
Well,
But
so I can't do that, right?
No.
I can't do that. So I give in other ways. I give money, I donate, but in
Yeah,
other
you can do
ways
no
because
nothing.
I have PTSD, which is a mental health condition.
Mm-hmm.
Proud to talk about it because somebody out there is going to be helped by my story. I was attacked not once, but twice at work, working with high schoolers, okay? And let me tell you, the physical damage was great. I still suffer. It's, 6 years later, almost
Right.
7 years later. Not once. Went out for a year, went back the second year, different situation, same thing happened. I did not know that would be my life, right? But what God has for you, He has for you. So
And your
even that
breakthrough
couldn't
come
get
through
in the
you.
way. It just propelled me to talk, to help other people. I was in my doctoral program. God, I couldn't even read. Like I could not read the words. So I could not comprehend because I suffered so much damage, traumatic brain injury. Okay? But still I'm here.
Still you made
So
it.
I am the hope of the slave. I
Right.
take that. I honor that. You understand?
Right.
But I got to tell you, it has not been easy. And so trusting people to come close into my space, I'm not there. So you get too close, you might get something you're not looking for,
Right. And that's something you never know what a person is, and that's a good key point that you made. That's why we need to all give other people space and respect, because you don't ever know what a person's trigger is.
Right.
And a lot of people, they say, "Oh, this happened to such and such. This happened." Okay, well, what happened? Because, people just, have triggers, and you may not know. That's why sometimes you just gotta mind your own business and leave people alone, because
Right.
you don't know a key word, you don't know a key screen.
Yeah.
People these days, they have key words.
Trigger.
And it will trigger them off,
Trigger.
and before you know it, it's on the
Yes.
news.
Yes.
So that's the reason why I always try to respect everybody and give people respect and treat people like how I want to be treated, and get the same thing in return. But when it
Absolutely.
comes to like seeing your own people just fall and crash, sometimes you have to be that person in your community. And I got that from Judge Mathis. Thank you, Judge Mathis. You got to find your power. And when you find your power in your community, after you've taken from your community, you have to find the power how you're going to give back and make the change in your community, because
That's right.
you can't leave it for the city, the councilman. You can't leave it for anybody else to do it but you.
Right.
And especially if you're a parent, or if you're any type of person that has any loving feelings, you don't want to walk outside and see people drunk and just laid out, and you don't know if they're even alive. And that was starting to happen a lot a few years ago. And so I had to get on my bullhorn and, clean the community up and let people know you can't just be out here begging, making the community look ridiculous. We're trying to do better out here.
Right.
Although, gun violence is still the number one killer in our community.
And you know what? It's just going up, up, up. I was reading something yesterday. There were 3 young men shot at the same minute in different areas of the Los Angeles County.
Well, you know what? Los
are we doing?
Angeles County had a statement that they made years ago, and it said, "Staying home saves lives." You guys remember that? When the first mask
Yeah.
and all this stuff, the first thing they said was, "Staying home saves lives." Okay, that still is true today. We are still at war. Things haven't changed. They're only getting worse because we don't have EDD for people to get. Now people are afraid to
Well, they
get
burnt that
jobs.
out.
Yeah, people are afraid to get jobs because either they don't want to either get tested or get a shot or either contract the virus.
How do you feel about that? Because one thing I remember you telling me when I think when COVID first happened, you were like, "Well, Dr. T, the homeless people are probably in a better state because they're used to being outside and the elements of the air.
Right. And they don't have TV. They don't have a cell phone. They don't have the news telling them how many people die every day, how many people contracted the virus. They're just going on about their natural lives.
Right.
And so that's how I went about my life, because that's a part of my life, being with them. So, I mean, to go and give them a mask, they was looking like, what I need this mask for? And then they start seeing everybody else. They say, well, what's going on? Because it's an invisible virus. So how do people know they're still doing their own normal thing in life?
Right.
And
And I
out of all
respect
the
people's
198
decisions.
people
Yeah.
I was feeding every day, it was like they was bringing 5 and 6 more people a day. I'm like, my goodness.
Yeah.
It's a pandemic, but it's more homeless people that's populating. I think that I started to remember that all those fires, remember all those cities that got wiped out, where did those people go? To Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Out in the city. If you ever think about it, everybody's seen a white person walking around with they face dirty, with no
Yeah.
shoes on,
Absolutely.
either
Mhm.
with a hospital gown on or half their clothes hanging like they ripped and been burnt
Oh,
off.
when they kick them out the hospitals and that
Yeah,
kind
but
of
a lot of
thing.
people aren't kicked out of hospital. A lot of people are either bussed here or brought here. Some people,
And
you
then the
know,
immigration issue.
yeah, some people. I mean, I mean, I see a lot of new white people, just white faces, just feeding a lot of people in the community. When there's a new face.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so every day there's like 5 or 6 new people. You start to wonder like where are these people coming from?
Right.
You start to hear their stories. It's almost like they're just dropping out the sky.
Yeah.
Like aliens. So
Yeah.
it's you have to be careful out there, because I know people's faces and people's faces know me.
So let me ask you this, because now, if because you're caring for more people as they're coming in, just really quickly, I would like for you to shout out your Cash App. And the reason I say this is because this is the way that I donate to you.
Yes, you
And
do.
if anybody needs a reference, look at this face. I'm telling you, all of the monies that she gets goes to help the people in the community. She's giving out donuts and coffees and lunches. She's at her own home preparing meals. When I have food, I'm like, I'm not going to eat this. Dr. T, don't you throw it away. I'm
Don't throw
coming
it
to
away.
get it. Don't you throw it away.
Right. Because
So,
you never know, like a loaf of bread and
yes.
sugar and
Yes.
peanut butter and jelly and
Goes a
bread.
long way.
It
Mhm.
makes people feel so good, to get these things. And at first, I didn't really realize it. And then they were calling me peanut butter and jelly lady. I was like, what? Like, where did I get that name from? Like, he's like, well,
It's
you're
an
always
honor.
making peanut
It's an
butter and jelly. And
honor.
I'm
You're
like,
feeding people.
awesome.
You're filling bellies.
People starting to know I got sandwiches now, because I used to put them in
Yes.
my backpack and literally walk around, and give them out. Because, the encampments, I used to, videotape live and tell people. Then someone on my page would report it. The city would close my encampments down and my people would get displaced. So I'm like, I'm not going to tell people no more. I'm just going to just go out and do it. So,
Yeah.
that, daily, now that I have, more people, the queens, shout out to all the queens on Queen Unity
Queen
Movement.
Unity, shouting y'all out,
The
ladies.
Cash App, Homeless Helper 24. That 24 is for Kobe. Because Kobe has been people don't know that Kobe was an advocate for everyone in. And when everyone in hashtag beds, not sidewalks started, Kobe Bryant was an advocate for them. And he was
and let
there.
me just say, she knew Kobe personally
Yes. And so
for
it was
years, and he was always instrumental
always
to your cause.
believing that the homeless crisis was going to end. If nobody else believed in it, Kobe did. So my hashtag homeless helper 24. I always tell people that we love each other 24/8, because Kobe's number is 8. And so we definitely want to pay homage to Kobe Bryant and Nipsey Hussle, because we have to keep the marathon going, because if we don't keep the marathon going, it's not going to go. So we have to have more Harriet Tubmans and more Dr. T's and
Oh, thank
more
you.
people out here, more I am Jacquees, just more people out here, because also she's also into mental health. And I didn't want to bring it up, but I think it's also good to know
Sure.
that she also went through things. My daughter was kidnapped from me when she was younger by, I thought it was a family friend. And people are mean, and
Yeah,
so
they can
everybody
be.
doesn't love kids and everybody doesn't have that. That's why it's so beautiful when people love children and just embrace them and listen to them and give them love, because a person that can hit a child and hurt a child, to me, is just full of evil, because that's just not the thing to do. And
Right.
so by my daughter having to go through that in her life caused mental health, mental problems,
Sure.
and she climbed up that ladder, and we found each other when she was 18 years old. And since then, I've just watched her growth, and I'm like, look at my baby that I
Yeah.
didn't see for all these
Yeah.
years, and she's just flourishing, and she's like a one day she's like a 12-year-old, and she's like a 14-year-old, and
Well,
she's like a
she's
16
absolutely
year
beautiful.
old.
She looks like a living
Yes.
doll over
And
here.
she is such a beautiful person. It's like
Well,
all my
all of your
children
children
are.
are.
Yes.
All the ones I've met.
But
And
I am Jacquees is like that girl that you can call for energy, or if you want to laugh,
yeah,
or
and
make
stand
somebody.
up. Let me just Nick. Let me have her stand
I mean,
up.
if
I
you
want to.
just
I
everything
believe
about her
in
is
promoting each other, and this is her work.
Yes.
She's a designer, and she got
Yes.
some cold pieces because she
Yeah.
has a
I got her
website.
jacket on. I got all her little
And I'm gonna need that bra.
we all good. We all. I am
But-
ego.
But just to go from being kidnapped,
Right.
being homeless, and all of these things, what was that experience like for you? And to see you flourish, what are you, like 26, 20? I forgot. I was keeping up.
19,
No,
19.
can't tell anybody.
And she looked like she's 12, but I'm
Right.
just
That's
saying.
what I said. One day she's 12, one day she's 14.
But
16,
Dione
18.
is the baby, and I know how old
Yes,
Dione
yes.
is. That's my
I'm
little
the
baby.
oldest
That's
of
a shy
my
one.
sisters, actually.
And one of the only ones that likes to take pictures. Like I got 5 kids, and
I
all
know.
my kids. I mean, I just love that she likes to take pictures, because
Yes.
the other ones be like, our pictures. That's what their pictures look like.
So how
So-
has that? How was that for you? Being kidnapped
My
and
life has been definitely when people say a 360, that's like not even it. It's, like it's a revolving door, honestly. Being kidnapped from my mom at a very young age, I was in an abusive household the entire time. I was with someone that probably didn't know the word mental health, and probably did because she was, military. But I honestly just feel like I had to overcome what I did, because if not, I would have been, I wouldn't be here, honestly. I really wouldn't be here.
Yes.
So overcoming mental health as a kid didn't happen. I actually just started to understand what mental health was just within the last few years. After finding my birth mother, I think now it's been 6 years that I've known my mom. We've been reunited with my mom. And short time after I found my father. And that's when mental health became a thing, because I never realized what not having parents meant or did to me or did not do to me,
Sure.
Growing up, until I actually became part of their lives. And then I realized, like, man, like, there's so much that I just pushed back in the back of my mind because I had no one there. So I had no choice but to just keep going and chugging and not think about the things that I went through. But when I finally found my parents, I had a moment of, okay, I have my parents, I'm here, now what? And then I realized, like, I was a little insane by that time, but meeting them allowed me to have the space to get the help I needed.
Sure.
Seeing them allowed me to understand, this is why you do this, and this is where you get this from, and this is who you look like, and this is where you come from, So I didn't feel as crazy. I felt like I found myself. I felt like I found my mom, I found my dad, now I found myself. So now I'm able to go out in the
thousands
world.
of sisters and brothers.
I have 16
Never lonely.
siblings.
16.
Wow.
16. I have 8 brothers and
Wow.
8 sisters.
Blessings.
And now I am the product of what mental health is for all of my siblings. We all struggle with mental health, and I am the sibling that's like, okay, well, good morning, y'all. Let's do this. What are we doing? You guys want to pray? I'm on social media. I'm praying with my followers. I'm giving them like morning affirmations,
Yes.
And
And
I
her
don't have it
mama.
all together. I don't have it all together, but I know what's helping me.
Yes.
And I know what energy I bring to other people.
Sure.
Because people have told me.
Yes.
People come to me, and I don't even know that I'm doing this. But
Right.
people tell me, like, I just want to call you so I could be around your energy. Like, no. Like,
Because
don't do
energy is the
It
one thing
is.
that is real. It's
It
not
is.
anything you can fake. It is something that you feel.
Yeah.
They
It
teach
is.
us in science that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just is.
Yeah.
It transfers. So people can feel your sense in your aura
Yeah.
when you step in the room.
And people seem to think that energy is something new. Like, oh,
No.
the energy, the energy, the energy. Like, people are just now using that word.
Right.
But honestly, we have always all had this energy. You know how you're
Absolutely.
talking to your friends, you're like, you know what? Something told me. It's the energy. You know, it's
And you
God.
know what? It's the
And you
ancestors.
connect dots.
It's that
Right, yes.
ancestor. It is that. It is that. That's right. It's
When you
it's
can
God.
he
When you're
connects dots, and when he
connected-
starts to connect dots, you start to
Yes.
feel more like the elite that you
Yes.
are,
Yes.
and not the person that you were.
or others expect you to
Yeah.
be.
Is right
Yes.
because your breakthrough, like I feel like what I've been through is not better than my breakthrough.
Absolutely.
Because your breakthrough, you're constantly breaking through to
Yes.
find out knowledge
Yes.
of who you are, your
Ooh, that's
self-worth,
powerful. Yeah.
and your self-love.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, I feel like self-love gets me through everything because I'm in the morning, I fall in love with myself, and I'm
Yes.
talking to God. I'm like asking Him to protect my family,
Yes.
and to keep to protect my own energy.
Yes.
My youngest daughter, she surprised me. She was like, I said, I was trying to call you on Messenger. She said, oh, I got rid of all my social media because I'm focusing on myself. And I said, okay, well, I'm not mad at you for that, but I was trying to text you on Messenger. But for a 19-year-old
Yeah.
to tell you that they took out their Instagram and took out their Facebook.
But she's thriving. Dione is
Right.
thriving.
Yes, so
I'm
it just
just
made me
always
feel
in
good
awe
as
of
a
her.
mom,
Yeah.
to know that your daughters have their independency.
Yes.
And she's a Cancer, so she's different
Yeah.
than her other sister.
Yes.
Right.
And so you can't treat everybody like I can tell her stuff, and I know it's good. The other one, she's a sheriff, so you're gonna be careful.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
investigates everything you say. You see what I'm saying?
Little
So it's like
Magnum PI
Yes.
over there.
right.
Yes.
Once you tell her something, you better believe. You better
Yeah.
give her all the information.
Well, but you
from
know, it's a
beginning
good
to
thing.
end.
You have to be astute.
It
You
is.
need to be
It is.
aware. You need to
Right.
know who's for you and who's against
Right.
you.
Yes.
So ain't nothing wrong with a little investigation.
Right.
Matter of
So I
fact,
can
I
learn
recommend
each,
it.
something from each one of them.
Absolutely.
And then, bring more to the table to my grandchildren and give them a lot of love and learn to be a nana.
Now let
know.
me ask Shaquise this. How have you found your romantic relationships to be, given your experiences? Is that something that you
question.
struggle with? Or
What do you mean, just being like in the industry, or just in general in life?
well, before we talk about the industry, just in life, in your personal love
Yeah.
life.
My love life is a struggle
Okay.
because my upbringing was a struggle.
Okay.
Because I come from not knowing who I am and where I come from, I struggle to find what kind of love I want,
Okay.
or what kind of love I need,
Sure.
or even what love is.
Absolutely.
If you don't have a mother loving you growing up, or a father loving you growing up, you tend to love yourself, or you find what you think love is. So growing up, I didn't have that.
Okay.
So not seeing love, I built a cartoon character of what love was, and this is
Alright.
what it's going to be. So I struggled to find someone to be that character,
Okay.
instead of just learning or asking questions or seeing. Now I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, but that's not something I can deal with.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
hang
sorry.
on 1 second. We have a. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Oh,
babe.
now I'm like, oh, that's not something I can deal with.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know that's the deal breaker for me.
Okay.
Now I can stand up for my energy.
Yes.
Because that's exactly what I've learned is I learned what type of energy I can deal with.
Yes.
I can meet you at the top of just 5 minutes being around you, and I know, like, you're an amazing person.
And you know what? I call that too a discerning spirit.
A
When
gift.
you are in touch with your spirituality and you have a relationship with the Lord, He's going to show you.
Oh yeah, and sometimes it's very scary because
Isn't
people.
it?
Oh, very.
It's a power within,
Yes, it's
you guys.
very, because you just know instantly, and
Yes.
sometimes it's like, God, like, okay, like,
Right.
calm down,
I get
because
it.
you get this feeling and it's instant, and sometimes I can even feel someone's pain.
Yes.
I can sit next to one and just feel just everything they're going through, and it breaks me inside not to say something. I
Yes.
have to touch that person, and that person will tell me like, you know what, that's all I needed today. But
Yes.
it's, you know, like you just,
Or
I
a
don't know.
smile or friendly. How come we don't?
I tell
why
people
we
that
can't
all the
smile
time.
at each other?
Man, I have
You
so
know?
many posts on my page that is just videos of telling people, oh, just smile today. Make sure y'all smile, because
Yeah.
it changes every person you pass by. I swear it really does.
And it is the one thing, we have different languages all across this magnificent globe, but smiling tends to be the one thing that is universal.
Yes.
Right. You don't know what
There's so
another
many
person
ways to
went
smile.
through, so
Right.
you may smile at a
You
person
don't
who
know.
had a tough time.
That's like
you
when
know?
I was like in the schools, I always kept in mind everybody didn't have a good night's rest.
No.
You had kids that were being cussed out by their parents, that were not desired by their parents. Sometimes
You
they
got
were
people that don't feel loved
no
themselves.
much better than a paycheck. You know what I mean? And they knew it and they felt it, and foster care and all of these different. You don't
Never know.
what type
You
of
never
day
know.
or situation even the
We
youngest
got to get more
person is
love and
having.
hugs out
Yes,
there, y'all.
You
Love
got
and
and we have to
hugs.
start remembering that mental health doesn't stop at our women. Mental health carries into our men, our
And our
young men,
children.
our
Absolutely.
grown men. We have to
Yes.
start realizing that a man with mental health is not someone that's weak. You know, like we put a lot on guys, just, oh, they got to be strong, they got to be the man. But we also have to understand that men have mental health as well as women. And we got to start tapping into letting them know that we are here and that we understand them as well. Because a lot of times
Yes.
men are just left out of mental
Yeah,
health,
and-
you know,
and-
And
you
women
gotta,
are
you
so
gotta put
aggressive.
them,
It's like
yes.
give a man a chance to get his feelings in.
Yes.
They are humans
Right.
also, so we have
Right.
to learn to communicate, and that's the key word. Is to
Communication
communicate
is
with
key.
each other
Absolutely.
better without an argument or someone yelling. Or
Yes.
sometimes it's about timing, and I think that people in
Yeah.
relationships should, if you're in a relationship, have a time like in morning time before 4. We can talk about business, we can talk about money, we can talk about this, we can talk about that. Okay, but after 6 o'clock, let's talk about love and how we can maybe hold hands, and then maybe at 7, maybe we can take a ride.
Yeah.
We need to build a formula for love.
But you
because-
also got to understand where you are too.
Right.
Because when we started the show, you talked about toxicity. And sometimes relationships can become toxic. Now, these are some indicators. I got to tell you, for those of you who have small children or children in the home,
Don't even be in a relationship.
children
No, for real,
are
Dr. T. Let's
what
keep it real.
they learn.
No, really, honestly, it should be. I think that if we are going to start any more trends, it should be women that have their own places, whether it's Section 8 or not. I really don't care. You got to stop moving strangers and people and other men into your home,
Around your
around
children.
your children,
And around yourselves.
yeah, around yourselves. Because
And men, same thing with women. It's,
right,
and
vice
it's never
versa.
just
We need
one
to
way.
have
It's
our
both
own
ways.
entities.
Absolutely.
That way, we can all build and be better for each other.
Absolutely.
We always think we can just want to take a straight person in and they're gonna help me pay half the rent. I said, okay, if you was doing that already before that person got there.
Wait a minute, girl.
You can
My
continue to
strays
do
never
it.
paid half the rent. Honey.
Right,
We had this
so-
discussion on Friday.
Right. So I mean, why bother? The whole thing is what before for feelings,
Yeah.
for sexual gratification.
Nah.
No, we got to stop that. Okay?
Yes.
It's not all about that. Okay.
Yes.
Save yourselves. Okay.
And
Save
know
your
when
body.
it's time to go.
Right.
And know
Stop
that it's
trying
okay.
to push
Yeah.
what is it? What is
Stop
a-
giving your
a
bodies
square
to
peg?
people
Yes.
in bums, okay, that don't deserve it. And
Yeah.
then they stalking you and you wonder why. See, you got to do better. The thing is that we got to be in relationships with ourselves and our families.
Absolutely.
First.
But the first relationship
That's
should
the
be
first
with
relationship we
God.
need to be in and stop
Gotta
bringing
have it.
other people. See, back in the day, you didn't even know who your auntie was dating. You didn't know who your mama was dating because they didn't tell you.
Right.
Okay, you didn't
You
even
ain't
see them.
Period.
Okay, out of
Nope.
sight, out of
It's a
mind.
different kind of day.
So it's a different kind of day. But we're today. It's all about change.
Yes.
It's all about moving forward. It's all about making others aware that mental health exists, homelessness exists, but guess what? Things can change if we all come together and do better as a unit. And that's, I think, what television has done and programming has done to people and they get to watching these reality shows and thinking like, oh, when
This
it's
is
going to be
who
the
life
next fight?
is.
Who's going to pull
Right.
their hair out? But no,
Mhm.
I don't have, me and all my friends on Facebook, we all love each other. We get together, we have a great time. If we have disagreements, guess what? We put that disagreement to the side. Like, girl, I still love you no
Yeah.
matter what the disagreement was.
A
Or,
lot of those shows are examples of mental health. A lot of those
right.
women, they find
Have
women
their
that
own
are
mental health.
broken and
You're
that
right.
do have a lot of issues, and they put them
Right.
under
They
high
say
pressure situations where
ex-housewives
they
get
don't
the
know how to converse and get out
right.
of it or deal with it, and
And it
a
all
lot of
goes
times that's
back
what
to
it is.
self-love.
But
It
this
all
is
so
something
being
I
able to
want to
get along
say.
with yourself.
This is something I have to say. I just got to say this just because I'm a woman. I'm a mother to a black man. My son is 21.
Amen.
He's so fine.
He's growing up. We need to arrange more marriages
But
between our
no,
children. We,
no,
really, we
you
need
know
to,
what? So
we
she's
need to
talking
go
about
back
her
to
daughter
that,
and my
okay?
son. Girl, she don't want Elijah right now.
Well,
Elijah's
if
not
not
ready.
that
Oh,
one, Coach
my son
Pam's
named
son
Elijah
will do.
too.
He's
Elijah.
all the way on the other side of the country.
It's okay.
But he's such a sweetheart. You would love him. You would love him.
Oh.
But Nick and I know we talk about this a lot. Being a black man, there's a few things that I think about when it comes to my son, my brothers, my nephews, black men I don't know, black men who may or may not have mental health illnesses. Driving home is scary, right, Nick?
Right.
Driving home is scary. Now, this is a black man. We actually have one here in studio.
This is an interesting conversation. I would say that I don't even know if I can describe to someone what it feels like to be a black man in America or in this world. Actually, I grew up in Los Angeles, Leimert Park area. If you're from LA, lived in the valley, so you already know. Lived in the valley. I done lived everywhere. I've been literally hunted by everybody. Black men, Mexican people, white people, cops, everybody. So that's an interesting way to live. And then to see, but as I got older, I started to understand why. And everybody has their story. For me, it was finding out my culture, much like my sister was saying. Things didn't really make sense until you find out who your mother was, who your father was, your history, your past. For me, I needed to find out culturally, who I was, why we had to go through all this as a people when I felt so much better than everyone else. When I say everyone, I mean other nationalities of people,
Right.
Just in a natural standpoint, whether it be sports, whether it be intelligence, whether it be writing, whatever it was, I always felt that we had the advantage naturally. So it just didn't correlate to what was happening naturally in the world. So when I dug into that and I found out why, I feel like that's what changed my perspective on life, how I looked at black women, how I dealt with my sisters, how I dealt with my brothers, and then being able to understand their pain. So before I grew up with a single mom for the most part, 5'2", crazy as hell. We all know how that is.
Right.
So if you're a black man growing up with a single black mom, she's normally pretty feisty. She normally fights a lot. So usually that transfers into a black man.
Right.
Now that's not sustainable for us because as a black man, I can't respond how a black woman would respond because my consequences are a lot different.
Absolutely.
So until I got around my father and I got to see how black men dealt with conflict, how they dealt with women, how they dealt with life, how they dealt with police officers, that gave me a whole nother perspective on how to deal with black men. I know I didn't have to fight you because we had a disagreement. Where if I seen my mother, she's fighting as soon as you say
Right.
something
Right.
because she's a woman. She has no choice.
Absolutely.
Right.
Ready to throw down.
So I think a big issue with men today is they're raised by their mothers and they're responding how women would respond,
Okay.
and it's not
That's
helping.
key.
Say that again.
And the sad part is
That's key.
the only way to fix it, and this is from a personal standpoint, is you have to have a physical example
Yeah.
of what a man is, like you guys are saying, what love looks like.
Right.
I've been married going on 3 years. One of the most difficult things I struggle with every day is how do I walk into my house and represent love? Never seen it.
Right.
I've never seen two black people in love, waking up in the morning, dealing with each other,
Right.
not arguing, getting along, having fun.
Right.
Never seen this before. So
Now
this
you
is
trying to be an example of something you never seen.
every day.
Right.
Every day
Yeah.
That's a struggle, right?
I'm trying to
Yes.
find something. You know, I'm trying to constantly have to counsel yourself.
I think sometimes we need to find out from our, like, when a relationship, like, what does the person, because you can't say, like, for what this person might expect is going to be what this person expect, because how did that person grow up? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Can they even perceive love? Can a person even understand? Because some people, I didn't know, a lot of people didn't grow up with hugs, and I was like, I didn't know people didn't grow up
Right.
hugging. Then I
Yeah.
said, oh, my mom used to tell me that she loved me every day. And
Right.
one of my friends said, I wish my mom would ever told me that, period. So I had to find and see, like, okay, the way you were raised was a lot different than other people.
Right.
Right.
But that manifested me to be who I am today because
Right.
my mother, what did she do every morning when she woke up? Good morning, beautiful. What's the favorite word I say to everybody? How you doing, beautiful?
Yeah.
Because all my life, that's all I heard my mother say was good morning, beautiful, and tell other people how beautiful they were. Then I saw her helping other people, driving trucks and doing things that most men would do. But then I had uncles, that I saw and that helped me in the aspect as far as the outlook on men. And that's how I got the concept and figured out. Like, I used to hang around Suge Knight, and I used to sit around and all the guys would be talking, having a good time. They didn't call each other out their name, they kicking it. You go over here with the girls, one person calls somebody's name, they fighting for the next 6 months.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So I had to say, let me take a step back from you guys, because you guys are dealing with different issues than men are dealing with. Because they over here trying to figure out how they gonna get money in the next 5 or
Especially
10
black
years.
men. To me,
It's a
no
difference.
other person on the planet has it worse than black men.
Right.
That's why.
But when you hear their struggle,
yeah.
you kind of gotta have. That's why I always try to have respect for men and say, how you doing, King? Because I know exactly, what you're going through. I have
Right.
2 sons, and I see one son, that he got his thing together and he got it all together. And then I see my younger son trying to figure things out. But being a black man in the world, it's almost like you got to hide just to make it. Because when you come out, you're prey.
Yep.
So it's almost like
Right.
it's like you dealing with all these type of issues with men. And then when they come home, most men need a wind down time.
Ooh, quit talking so much, ladies. Shut your
So
mouth.
if you allow a man to have like a wind down time where he can come in after being preyed on and after he had to go through this situation, already face this and face that, and just say, hey, how you doing, babe? And then go ahead and do what you doing, and then give the opportunity. Like you were saying, you don't know how to do it. But sometimes you need time.
Oh, trust me,
'Cause
I
you
work every
already-
day.
You
My-
already been through a whole bunch already, just getting home, making it safe.
Right.
And then
That's
you got to
right.
deal with
Number
a family.
one. That's in.
And see,
Right.
men are strong. People don't understand. Men have to go through a lot to
Like
even
men
deal with
are.
a relationship and a marriage. And then on top of that, you got to deal with another individual that may not understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
And how do you express these things to people?
You
You
need
can
to
make-
be
you can-
equally yoked.
Right.
You
But
gotta be.
sometimes you can
It's powerful.
have you ever explained something to a person and then they do the same thing again? You're like, I just explained this shit to you.
Like it wasn't in
Like,
English.
so it's kind of like
Everyone has a different.
everyone's perspective on what you say is they may not even heard that. They
Well,
just heard
because
one
many
key word
people
they may
already
have
have
heard.
pre-perceived what they're going to say.
And
No
that's
matter
my
what
point.
you say, I'm going
And
to
that's
say
my
this
point.
to you.
And we can't win like that.
Nah,
We
they're not
can't
interested
win
in
when
it.
you just hear one word and say, "Oh, you said out. You want me out? Okay, you don't want to be with me no more." Like, no, bro. I was saying
And you
when
know
we go
what?
out.
If
So
that's the attitude, you're correct. Bye.
But you know what I've learned.
Yes, sir.
This in my experience, that it wasn't so much an attitude. I just learned that people don't really know how to listen.
Yeah.
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 So normally when I find myself when I'm talking to people, I have to consciously make an effort to listen.
Yep.
You do.
And not interrupt and not say
I got to
anything.
shut that thinking mind off and
Yep.
say
Right.
just take in what they're saying. But I also understand that most people are not aware of that.
Yeah.
So
Have to tap
I
in.
try not to take it personal if I'm talking to some,
Right.
especially our people, knowing the trauma,
right.
knowing that I couldn't even imagine if other nationalities of people went through what we went through, how they would respond to it.
Right.
You know, being how strong of people we are. So I have to have sympathy for
And
black men and women.
right.
Absolutely.
And certain things like movies and like some people could watch certain movies that have to do with slavery, but that's a trigger for me. Like I can't watch that
Ooh.
because
It just,
I already know what
yeah.
we've been through. And
It's
Yeah.
still
those
in,
were
it's still
my
in your DNA.
uncles.
That's why. Yeah.
Right. It's
It's
in my those are my
ancestral. It's
uncles
never
and
gonna
my
leave.
aunties. So
Never
I'm gonna
gonna
take it
leave.
personal. And you're gonna take me back, then I'll be ready to go black power a business and shut them all the way down.
Well, let's
So
talk about that because you've done that. I remember
yes,
there's a
sure
recent. Let me just show you guys. So one of the things I do is I practice deep breathing, the art of deep breathing.
as we all
This is
should.
a candle, House of Yahweh.
Yahweh.
There you go.
I got it today, beautifully wrapped. Okay,
Okay.
you guys, let me tell you, this is the best candle, and I already have one at home, and I burn it like every day, but it looks
Oh,
like I
wow.
haven't even burned it. That's how
Good it is.
the quality of this candle. But taking time just to inhale natural oils and things that are good can help to bring down and reduce the stress, because one of the things that is
I brought
killing
my
us,
thing.
killing our black men and black women is the level of stress. You know, when you have to argue, fuss, and fight, deal with traffic, you know, you know, come on. I mean, it all adds up.
Yeah, it does.
That's why I have a philosophy. Here's my philosophy. This is something that I practice. I've been practicing it probably the last, not quite 10 years, maybe 7 or 8. I don't argue with people. You can believe what you believe. You can think whatever you want to think. But the one thing you cannot do, the one thing I do not give you permission to do, is to subtract years from my life because you want to argue. So you sit there and argue by yourself. But another way to help to reduce stress, these candles here. And then Nick, can you please tell the people how they can get these candles? Because look at this. And look at the wick.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
amazing. Can you smell it? I'll let you guys smell it before I burn it. But just simply, and we'll do some deep breathing together, because it is something that can help to regulate your blood pressure.
Yes, I tell people that all the time. Meditation is key.
It
I
helps
do
you
it-
at night before you go
I
to
do it
sleep.
every day, every
And
morning.
these candles right here, actually these are handmade. So my rib, she hand makes these. She's be in the lab with it, and you can actually burn these and use the oil as a body oil.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Ooh la la.
I didn't even know this was all possible. So you can do.
Yeah.
Right.
They have them where you can use them
I
as
learn
massage
something new every day.
oils.
Yes, that's what that is.
Well,
This is a
speaking
massage
of
oil.
handmade, that would be a great subject topper for how to shut a business down and open up your own business. So the thing is, in our community, and what we need to do more of, is get rid of some of the unwanted businesses and bring in some of the businesses that we need to bring in that will better our community. Liquor stores and dispensaries, they're not bettering our community.
No, they don't.
It would be great if these entities like the liquor stores and the dispensaries would turn around and use those funds to help people in the community. Would you imagine how much better the community would be? Because then the young people wouldn't have to go out and rob, steal, and kill
Right.
for what they think that is theirs, and it's not. And that's the problem. But the thing is about shutting businesses down. We're gonna go about the nail shop, because I think
Yeah,
that
let's
was
talk
the
about the
first-
nail
the nail
shop.
shop in Carson.
Nick.
Okay, so the thing is, when George Floyd, may he rest in
Yahuda.
peace, when he passed away, people ran to the internet, to run everything they wanted to say, and sometimes people started to show their true colors, right? And so this nail owner thought that she would tell everybody that George Floyd's life was nothing, and I don't even know what the rest of the article said.
Another black man
Right.
that was
That's all I
that
needed to
was
see.
treated like he was slaughtered, and that
Right.
his life didn't matter.
Right. And to her, he was a nothing. So I wanted to make sure that she was never gonna get nothing, right? Not another penny. And so I took action, got my bullhorn, went down there. A couple of other queens had already posted the Facebook. You know how they screenshot. The queen had already screenshotted it before I got down there. I was able to get my bullhorn, go on Facebook Live. People started sharing the message, and before you know it, gone. See, just that easy. That's just how much power, like you were saying. We have so much power, but the thing is, we've been bamboozled so much into believing that the powers don't work, but they actually do. Just imagine if a person a day went out to shut something down or to make sure a business didn't get any money because they wronged us. Just imagine how many businesses would be able to close down. and how if maybe a person or two would take the opportunity and go into every business in the community and say, look, we need to better our community. You need to give. Even if it's $10, just imagine if each business gave $10, then you're feeding 100 to 200 people on the streets. That gives them more hope, gives them more resources to get out, get better, and do better as a community. That's the way it's been working. And so going out, hospitals, they get black power too for wronging us, letting us out the hospital when they know damn well we're not well enough. We don't have rides to get home. They just let us out the hospital in the middle of the night.
In them
People
gowns.
walking home
Yeah.
at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I had to put a stop to that. It's just a lot of things that we can do as individuals to make change. And then other people will say, oh, wait a minute. Next time I go to that store, if this owner calls me the N word, I'm going to call Queen Unity. And that's just how it works. Now I got awareness now. And every time something goes wrong, like last week at Del Taco on Imperial and Western, selling tacos, old tacos from the pandemic they didn't sell, start putting them out there with worms in them. I mean, it's a disgrace, and also it's a disservice to the community. When things like that happen, but they figure, oh, it's a poor community. They send everything bad to the poor communities.
Yeah.
That's why we got food for less.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we have gnats at our stores. I don't even participate. I used to wonder why my granny always going to Pasadena when it's a store right around the corner from her in Carson or, Inglewood. You couldn't even pay her to go to a store like that because everything good in the higher end communities, it comes to us, and then we get our food for less, and we get our little supermarkets with everything that's old from their stores. But when you go to their stores, what do they have? They have restaurants in their stores. They have fruits that look like it comes off of a magazine. You won't see a fruit fly nowhere in sight. The kids have places they can go and play. It's a whole different environment for them. And so I like to be able to one day to take people outside of the community and take them to places, because people think in the community it's no better life out there than what's on television. And that's far from the truth. We got a lot going on in LA that people can do, but the thing is that people are trapped. And they got the
They don't see
pandemic.
nothing different.
People are stressed out. They think they can't go outside. They think they can't hug a person or touch a person. So it's difficult right now. So in order for us to be able to make a better community, we have to all come together and say, look, we're going to clean up our communities. We're going to help our homeless people get the resources they need so they can get all the housing, the millions of dollars that they say once again that are here for the homeless people. We really want to see action. We don't just want to talk about it. We want to be about it. So that's why I've been consistently, since 2016, getting people in housing, showing them how to get placement, go to mental health, get an advocate. You don't have to take medicine when you go to mental health. You just talk to somebody.
Even though they try to push it.
Yeah, they do try to push it, but
Yeah.
it depends on you. Some people do need medication. Some people have problems that need to be addressed, and sometimes medication helps them. It's not for everybody, but for some people, it does help. But at the end of the day, there's a side effect to every medication. You just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So therefore, that's the reason why we have to do health and wellness, because for everything that's before modern medicine came along is here at the tip of our fingers in our essential oils, in our vitamins. There are trees that can save our lives. So it's all about the knowledge that you receive to find out what it is that you're putting into your body that's going to cause you to have dementia later on in years, which is processed food,
Yeah.
sodas, things that the body is not used to, which causes the brain to be confused about what it is it's supposed to do. So if you
Even the water, something about the water.
yeah, okay. And the big thing about water, because that's something that we all have to take. And I learned years ago, I got really sick from drinking reverse osmosis water. And that's in your ingredients. You can read that. And that's just reverse dirty water, reverse toilet water. Something that's reversed. Anything that's reversed, why would you want to put that in your body? That's just like saying you chew this hamburger and I'm going to eat it after you spit it out. So we have to be smarter into knowing the things that we put into our body is just what we're going to get out of it. So if you just spend maybe an extra $2 or $3 on your water, and that will help you. If you get a purifier, purify your water. They have zero water where you just put your water in there, and it takes your water to a zero bacteria level. Okay, that's what we want, because if you continue to drink reverse osmosis water, soda, all these fruit drinks with these added colors, yes, of course, we're all going to have cancer. We're all going to have dementia. We have to find the natural fruits and vegetables and things that we need to put into our body to make us better and healthier. And
Right.
so, Dr. T, I'm a very big advocate when it comes to health and wellness.
Yes.
I'm a detoxer. I can only eat about 7 items in the whole world. So I mean, I have allergic reactions to a lot of different things, especially the new organic fruits and all these organic things that are mixed together. I can't
Makes
eat
you wonder
peaches.
how they're
Yeah, but
making
I eat an
organic, right?
orange now, and it's organically mixed with a peach. And then what? I have allergic reaction. I have to worry about my life and if I'm gonna breathe again. So I can't take chances like people can go out and just order all this extravagant things on a plate. I can't do that because I don't know if that fish right there or if this other product that's processed chicken, I don't know what it has in it. The additives could cause allergic reaction. It could be my last day on earth. So I just stick to the
Yeah.
basic, yams and potatoes and fresh vegetables and broccoli.
That's
People are
why I
like, you eat more
started.
broccoli than anybody in the whole
That's
wide world.
why that was the motivation
Yeah.
behind my Serenity Optimum Nutrition. You guys hear us
Right.
talk about the CBD products, the
Right.
sleep with the
NutriBurst,
melatonin.
yes.
We also have the TLC products.
Right.
But, I think it's something more powerful when you have your own stuff and you do it. So,
Right. And you
even
should,
in my
we should
research,
definitely create more
we
because
have
we are
to.
creators of
Well, that's
everything
what I'm
already,
doing, honey. I'm doing it.
especially
God
our
gave me the vision.
lotions. Yes,
I
our
got the products.
lotions and our hairsprays and
Yes.
our clothes,
Yep.
all that stuff we can create our own.
Yes.
And I definitely in the future I'm looking to buy land to just have businesses and people come out that have their own networks because our network is our net worth.
That's correct.
Our network is our net worth. Closed mouths do not get fed.
That's right.
So I want to thank Amazon for letting me work the little time I was able to work to save up money to have the program for November 15th Skid Row.
Yes, let's talk about that because we're getting ready to go off air, but I don't want to miss that because it's very
Okay.
important.
Yes, it's very
And
important.
I believe that there is oh, you found it, Nick? Oh, you are bomb.com. But that is very important with respect to helping people.
Yeah.
Let's just say people who have less than perhaps what we may have. So
Most
tell us
definitely.
about that program. But before you
Okay.
do, I want you to shout out again your Cash App. I
Okay.
did put it
Okay.
on the Rollout
So
Digital.
my Cash App is Cash App Homeless Helper. That's HOME less LESS Helper HELPER 24 like Kobe. Rest in peace, Kobe. And my program is November 15th. It's the Skid Row program, Thanksgiving program to bring Thanksgiving to Skid Row. It's also the coordinator down there, Stephanie Styles. Shout out to Stephanie Styles down on Skid Row, living on Skid Row to help the people on Skid Row. And it's amazing. When I first went down there a few weeks ago to give out noodles and water, I was really surprised in how many people. It was like it was never ending.
Yeah.
It was never ending. Faces, people, and
Yes.
love.
Yes.
It was the best feeling in the world to be able to just have a vision. And I've had a vision for a while now to go down to the White House on 5th and San Pedro on Skid Row, which is the main focus point where the coordinator, Stephanie Styles, feeds the homeless every day, 24 hours a day, coffee, donuts, hot noodles. Now, these are things that we have in our cabinet we just take for granted.
Right.
Okay, but yet and still, a cup of noodles I've seen save people's lives on Skid Row. So I'm bringing out a juice bar.
This is November when?
November 15th.
What time?
It starts at 4:30
Until when?
until the chickens start crowing.
So
Because we don't know
4:30.
how many people, like I said, when I went down there I thought I was going from 11 to 2 to give out noodles and water. but it turned out to be so much more. I just become more humble every time I go downtown and see how people have to live and what they endure, and to hear their stories
Sure.
and to see that there's hope. And that's
Absolutely.
what Fifth and San Pedro is bringing to a lot of people: music, love, and hope. So on the November 15th, we're going to be feeding the homeless. We're going to be we have a juice bar. We're going to have karaoke. We even have a little domino table set up. We have queens
Oh, come
coming
on,
out
Domino
to pass
people.
out turkey sandwiches, sweet potato pie, cakes, cookies. We got clothes. People can donate blankets and socks. And it's just almost like I feel like I'm feeding the world, because it's so many people out there, and I'm just going out there to feed the people noodles and water and get on my bullhorn and tell people, bring more water, bring more noodles, and the next day there's more waters and more. It's just like together we made a difference in just,
Yes.
in just that moment. So I just feel so just anxious for this day to come.
So
Just,
this is what I want to know. So for
mhm,
people out there who may
mhm,
want to team up with you or
mhm,
to make a contribution to you,
mhm.
how can they reach you? Do you have a page,
Yes.
a
Thank you. Thank you.
address, a
Yes.
phone
Okay.
number?
This is
Because we got
most
like
important.
2 minutes left.
Okay. Stay Positive Fam is my Yahoo Gmail. That's Stay Positive Fam, the opposite of negative. Stay Positive Fam, FAM, at yahoo.com. That's also my Zelle information. If you want to make a donation to Zelle, you just go to staypositivefam.com. I'm Dion M. Leslie on Facebook, and I'm
Dionnne.
Dionnne,
Okay.
M as in Mary, Leslie on Facebook, and on Instagram, Dion M. Leslie, Dionnne, M, middle initial, Leslie, Leslie, like Lisa Leslie, but Dion Leslie.
Yes.
Yes.
See the resemblance. Y'all
Yes,
all look
right. The
alike.
big sister. And yes, I also wanted to also make a point that
Oh, we have a caller.
yeah,
Oh,
Good
okay.
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 I also wanted to make a point and say that the group Queen Unity movement has been the biggest asset. The queens, they come through, they donate. It's like one to donate five, one donate $1, 20. Before you know it, this train and this marathon just continues to grow and flow. And I just want to thank all the beautiful queens and kings out there that, and Dr. Tasha Nisha
Oh,
buying
thank you.
tents. And it's just been a blessing to be a part of such a great organization that helps love and care. And I just want to say I just appreciate all the queens from Queen Unity Movement that have believed in me and supported me, and that we're just from here on out, we're just moving on up and moving up to great places. And I want to thank Dr. T. Dr. Tasha Nisha is such a wonderful person, and I've been
Thank you.
following her. I'm one of her biggest fans, and um, her greatness and is just shining through. And I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who wants to participate, help the people on Skid Row, help a homeless situation in Los Angeles in. And one day we're going to buy land, and we're going to be able to save all the people in the world. But for right now, we're just going to save one person at a time and keep hope alive.
So there you have it, dynamic guest. I want to say thank you again to
Thank
Miss
you.
Thank you,
Dion
Dr. T.
M. Like money.
Like that.
Leslie and her beautiful daughter, Miss Shaquise.
Thank you.
I thank you
Johnson,
guys, first of all, for taking the time, for saying yes, because your yes, your story, trust me, it is going to help to positively move someone
Yep.
out of situations that they don't deserve to be in. It is going to
Yes.
give people, you've given people a lot of hope to go from being kidnapped and understanding your own issues with mental health and mental
Helping
illness,
others.
and being able to talk about it is easy for me because I'm just like an open book. I don't really have
Right.
secrets. You can ask me
Right.
anything, I tell you, but it's
Yeah.
not the easiest thing to do. But trust me,
Right.
young sister sitting in here, it is a blessing. I'm so glad
Thank you.
that you're here because you're going to be able to help a demographic that my old ass just, they're gonna be like, ah, she too old. But you're not.
Right.
But that's what it's about.
And
It
mental
is
health
about
doesn't have a face or
mental
age
mental
or a
mental
size.
health
Yes.
can occur at any time to
Yes.
anybody. You can be
Yes.
fine one day. You can smoke some dope or something that will trigger something in your body you didn't even know that you had. That's what makes it so dangerous. So that's why we say don't do drugs, right?
Right. And stay in the light.
And stay in the light.
Stay in the light.
Stay in
the light.
prayer,
Yes.
meditate, pray. But
Right.
before we get out of here, I would like for us to stand because I do believe in deep breathing to help bring us down a little bit, and it helps to get us back centered with the earth. And I believe in a process called earthing or grounding. And that's why I take my shoes off. So I might appear a little shorter than this is my height, right? Oh my God, you guys are so tall. But so there is a proper way. Can you still hear me okay, Nick? To do deep breathing. And what it entails, and this is something Dion knows, after every time I would work out, every time I never ever would end without doing deep breathing. Because when you're at work or you feel like you're going to cuss out that boss or you have images like I do sometimes of strangling people, when you deep breathe, it's going to help. We have a caller. Let's take the caller call.
Go ahead, caller. Maybe they can do it too.
Hey, caller.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh,
Who are we talking to?
hey, Dr. Ted, Dana, how are you?
Hi, Dana. I am blessed, sweetheart. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for bringing light and having the guest on your show, your inaugural show. I want to send a shout out to you for that, but just bringing this issue to light.
Absolutely, Dana. It is one that I have personal experience with, and in being in the mental health field for over 25 years now, it is something that truly, within that time, we should have seen some dissipation, but instead we're seeing it grow and increase to the point.
It's really, really growing,
Yes.
and that's in every area. I wanted to say hi to your guest, but also ask a question.
Yes, please do.
Hi.
Okay, hi,
Hi,
Dee.
Queen.
My name is Dana. I'm another caller on this platform and the shows they produce.
Okay.
I wanted to ask if, as you both have been a part of, I would say, I guess, the homeless community, what about the homeless community you don't see changing instead of growing other than people losing jobs, losing homes, but it's not being addressed by the government or the state in a proactive way?
I would say housing. I would think if they should address anything, they should address housing.
I think for me, what I see is not only address housing, but also rehabilitation. Because you could give a person a place to stay, but if their mindset is not on, keeping that place to stay or their housing.
That's a good point.
Kind of like
That's a good
letting somebody
point.
borrow money for rent.
Yeah.
Well, I could give you money for this month, but what are you going to do next?
Well, that's a good point. And with right now, the things that they're implementing in the low income based apartments, like where I stay, we actually have social workers within the building in the community. And that is really the only way that rehabilitation can and will happen. It's all a hands on type of job. So the thing is that the workers in the building, they actually bring in more resources for those people who are on alcohol and who have substance abuse.
Like case managers?
Yes, we do. And we all have case managers. So within the programs that they're building, they all do come with brilliant corners or people concerned. And that way, I was actually trying to get Queen Unity also involved because you're right. People can move into an apartment, but they can still have the outside ways of being homeless. So the way that you do address that issue, yes, you need more people that can assist after people move in, and also with assistant living. So those things are in place, and we do have advocates and liaisons in the buildings that help people when they move
I
in.
wanted to also ask this question. Since you've been part of this community not only as a person that was unhoused, but now servicing those, members of the population that are on. So, we look at our government and we see that a lot of the undocumented population were given resources, and also Biden allocating $6.3 billion to the Afghans, and people that are not documented, they're not citizens, but people that are citizens of this country just being ignored. Do you believe there's a racial component to that, with 60% of the homeless being black males, while they're only 6% of the population of California?
Yes, that is a good question, and I was actually trying to figure that out myself, because I don't know exactly in what order and how they do it, but I do know that a lot of our people just seem to fall through the cracks. I think that if people have people that they know, people in certain places, they just seem to help those people. So I've noticed there are, those gaps, they need to be filled, and we need to find ways to help our people that are affected and have been homeless for years, and not people that just
Like
come.
homeless, right?
Right. You need to have, that's the reason why they have those assessments. We want to help the people that's been homeless for years. We want to help those people who've been out here on the streets and trying to get into housing, versus people who just come here, fill an application out. You got these grants available for these people, but you don't have available housing for people that are already here.
Right.
And that's what's causing the mental illness and the breakdowns in our community right now, because people who don't deserve it get it, just like the thing with the people in the community that own businesses. They don't even live in our community. How are you servicing our
Right.
community and our people, and you don't even love us like
Right.
that?
Right.
So,
Right.
Right,
those.
because it does take a personal experience to, it takes a heart to
Yeah.
service those people
Right.
that you don't know anything about, or, even deal with on a regular basis. I understand
Yes,
that,
yeah,
yes.
it is difficult. That's the reason why in every homeless encampment, that was the good thing about that. You had a leader in each encampment, and that leader would keep up with the people that are there and people that are coming. Now I don't have that. I'm just pulling up to a person, giving them coffee and donuts, hopefully they don't want to jump up and get it going. So that's the reason why we need an identification process. This is the I've been trying to get the city to do this for a long time. Let's identify people. Let's get their information. Let's try to find a better way to get people housed without and also sanitation.
Oh, yes.
We need a better
Right,
system. We need to
see that.
be able to wash our hands. People need to be able to use the restroom. Not just homeless people, but people come off of buses, people come off of trains. There's no urinal places. It's almost like they want our community to be dirty. But you go to other communities, they have restrooms
Showers.
available. They even have showers available. I mean, it's just like we have to make a better transition into bringing awareness to the things that we need in our community, and then we have to go out and get it and make sure that it happens. And that's my
Wow,
plan.
thank you so much for just enlightening me and our guests, and on just what's going on with that. I see it everywhere, and I think for California, it's become where the homeless population is invisible. And so many people, I'm in conversations where they say, why don't they just leave? I said, well, what resources are they going to leave with?
Right.
I'd rather be somewhere that has 9 to 11 months of great weather than actual 4 seasons, and be compromised by nature, by the elements. Be in
Exactly.
the snow, be in the rain, be in the extreme heat.
Right. Then you have rain, then you have heat, and then it's so many things that can get a person to feel like, oh my God, how much more can I take? But then when they wake up and they say, oh my God, somebody brought me some coffee. Oh, there's people out here giving out donuts. Oh my God, somebody else gave me a t-shirt. Oh, this other lady gave me a blanket. Guess what? You just gave that person so much hope into believing that they might just get housing now,
Right.
you know?
That I
And
believe
so,
that also. That's such a good point.
yeah, so sometimes we have to, like I tell people, sometimes people say, oh, I'm so scared of the homeless. I'm scared. Okay, throw it out the window. They'll take it. Throw it, get a
They'll
big old
get it.
box, as big as you can get it, and slide it right out your
And
window. And trust me, they're
I
going to
think
pick
that's
up,
why,
you know.
go ahead.
Yeah, it's just like you don't really have to be scared. Just, be cautious. But then that's why we try to find organizations that don't have problems with going out there on the front line, putting their boots down and feeding the people right there and giving them what they need and not, and then they don't have to have those type of worries. We carry the worries for you so that way you don't have to worry about it. But when people say, oh, I gave, oh, won't you go downtown? Okay, now is the time. I'm going downtown. Okay, if you want to give, you want to be a part of the process, every dollar counts. And just imagine a cup of noodles or a gift from a pair of earrings, an old blanket. People down there walking with no shoes on, no socks on, and you come along with an old pair of Nikes that you were just gonna throw in the trash, but this person you just didn't even have any idea needed shoes. Okay, you just changed another person's life. Now we're getting the motion going. Now we're getting more blessings out there. Now we're doing more of God's work. Now we can start fulfilling more blessings. But it's going to take a
Absolutely.
village.
It's going to take a bigger community from my aspect. As to your point about people giving away stuff or people waking up with coffee and donuts or a jacket or something, I do believe that's why a lot of the homeless, population hold on to their pets or their animals.
Yeah.
Most
It gives you something to live for.
Loyal.
You know what? I wish I had one. Every time I go downtown, I see people with pets because you can see, like, I noticed my daughter I said, who are you talking to? She said, I was talking to the dog. I said, shit, I need to get me a puppy so I can have somebody to talk to like that because, sometimes I talk to God and I be talking to God. I be like, God be telling me to slow down. Like, don't rush because if you rush, I'm like a turtle. That's the reason why people at Amazon, they say you got to rush. Okay, that's not me. I can't rush. I'm not jumping, skipping, or rotting, none of that, okay? That's not in me, but I can definitely get things done on the front line and make things happen and show people that we can all make this world a better place. We just got to be consistent in what we're doing, stick together, make it happen. And then at the same time, let's all embrace our black men and show them that we love them too because, there's a lot of black men out there that also need love too.
Right.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Dana.
Again.
But yeah, that is important. It takes a village.
That was a great question that she had there when it comes to people that are on the streets and how they recover.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very good process that people need to have other advocates in the building,
Yeah.
people representing an outside entity that can come in and make a better place.
Well, that's one of the reasons too that the prison system fails because there is nothing in place. We call it recidivism
Right.
to give people something else to do in place of that.
Right.
And unfortunately, the answer is not giving out so much money in these EDD things that people don't want to work. I mean, it's like people don't want to go to work. I understand the pandemic and being afraid of that.
Yeah.
But there are some truths and some realities that as a people we need to start looking at, for ourselves because
Well, that's
we
why
can
gotta
do
be
better.
entrepreneurs. We have to be the elite.
This is
that
the
we
time.
were because in the
Take
beginning,
that money,
we created
start
and
a
we started all
business.
the businesses that were. We
Yeah.
made street lights. We invented the remote control. You think
All
that
of
we can't
it.
make some oils
All
up and
of
we
it.
can't sell vegetables? We can do it. We can have agriculture. We can do all the things that everybody else does, even
Yes.
better.
Yes.
It's just that we got to stop bickering and
Well, we
stop
started
dealing
it.
with envy and jealousy
Yes.
and start dealing with network to make the network.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so
All
let's
right.
go ahead. Let's do our deep breathing.
Let's do it.
And I think we all should be
We're
able
all
to,
set, huh?
to demonstrate
Are we
and
still recording?
uh-huh
We are?
and
Okay.
give a
Amen.
let's give an
How you doing,
affirmation.
beautiful queen?
Yes, let's give an affirmation. Because we know that when we speak things into existence as though they were, they will be. As long as we put the work in, right?
Right.
All right. So you're gonna breathe in deeply. And this is how you properly deep breathe, people, because some of y'all don't know.
Right.
So-
teach us.
From the diaphragm. But what I recommend, go ahead and get you this candle. The beautiful lady that makes it, the rib, has walked into the building. So you guys can order them from her. They last forever and they smell absolutely amazing. Natural oils. You want natural things in your body to naturally heal the body
Have
inside.
health and wellness. Amen.
All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to breathe in through our nose. And you're going to feel the air go in first up to the brain, because when you take oxygen to the brain, it helps to settle and to center the body. Okay, very important. And like I said, part of my Native American culture, I practice what is called grounding or earthing. So I have no shoes on the feet. Can y'all see that? No shoes. I'm barefoot.
She's indigenous.
I'm indigenous. We had something else with that yesterday, but I'm indigenous. Yes, and so it's about getting connected to the earth, closer to God. Breathing in, we're going to breathe in through our nose. I'll demonstrate for you. That's right. I'll demonstrate with my fingers where the air is in my body. And then when I get it here, I'm going to hold it. And I'm going to tell you something about holding it. It's time to let go of the things that we are holding on to that are toxic, that are not uplifting to us in our spirit. Okay? When you think about what our ancestors have done to get us to this point of even today, that is something to be proud of and grateful for. And we need to continue to propel it and move it forward. So by doing that, when you
And stop
hold the
saying you're
air here,
tired.
yeah, what is tired?
Yeah.
What is that?
Harriet Tubman ran for months. She did it. We can do it. Okay.
So did Fannie Lou Hamer. But
Okay.
let me tell you,
Out of sight, out of mind.
you hold it here, and then metaphorically, but seriously, like on some real stuff, when you begin to exhale up through the diaphragm and out through your mouth, you want to release the toxicity. That is toxic relationships, that is toxic people. If your kids ain't in order, you better get them together, because we are responsible for them, okay? So here we go. We're breathing together, and again, I'll demonstrate where the air is in my personal body, okay?
Okay.
So inhale through the nose. Let's go. Okay. Now we're going to do it a little more deeply. Now that we know the proper way to do deep breathing. In through the nose. Here we go. And let it out. And let me tell you, this is something you can practice. For me, it works better standing. But if you're at a job and you're sitting, that is your way to get your body back recenter to where you can be, so we can keep it together, so that we can hopefully keep from having mental health
breakdown.
breaks and breakdowns, because it's a real thing. All right. So my affirmation for myself: I am in control of me.
Okay.
And with that, I continue to propel to uplift others while building myself. You have an affirmation?
I'll let you go.
My affirmation is I am the energy in the room that I would like others to bring.
Love it. Love it.
I would like to say, let's see. I'm going to use my old one. What I've been through is not better than my breakthrough.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely. You guys want to share?
I would say Kwam Yasha, which means Israel rise, which is basically the conversation we've been having today. So
Amen.
All right, Rib. It's a queen. That's a queen over there.